Oh, it's good to be back. Hey, everybody, it's Martin John, and I am here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and text on how we can live a more reasonable life. Life is easy, folks. Love you so much, and I'm here to talk about the Tao. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of jump right in. The random number that I picked today is 18, a real short verse. I think this is the shortest verse of the Tao. There may be one just slightly shorter, but this one's a very short one. But that doesn't mean we can't dive into it. But before I do that, I want to invite you guys to, if you guys got anything going on in your life, if you guys want to pick a number, please don't hesitate to click that little sleepy cat and come on up and chat with me about the Tao. Some of you may know that I don't know if I talked about this. Everything seems so far away. Over the weekend, I was over at Camp Hokey Pokey, a place to turn yourself around. So cute. It's the retreat that the yoga studio that I work with hosts. It was out in Michigan, about an hour and a half from me, and I enjoyed it. It was great. I introduced so many new people to Tao of the Day. I did a couple live Tao of the Days, Taos of the Day. I think that's the proper way of pluraling. I did one on Saturday and one on Sunday. And it was great. We talked about all sorts of stuff, and nothing that you aren't familiar with. We talked about opponent process. We talked about stillness. We talked about what is Tao, right? In the what is Tao, instead of trying to explain what was Tao, I read Tao. The first form of Tao, right? Words are particular; they cannot express Tao, and we got to have this conversation, and there were multiple people in the room, but everyone was really, they observed the etiquette, if that is what I want to say. And it's funny because we're going to be talking about etiquette in today's 18. But it was a group of people all in one room, and I was sort of in the center of it, and we were just talking, and I'd look around and talk to people, and we had all sorts of people kind of just getting their Tao on, and it was a wonderful experience. It was a great experience for me because I get to look in the eyes of the people that I'm talking to, and that is great. And I do love this format because I can get in touch with people all over, but doing it live was definitely different. And I would probably say it took a little more energy to do it that way too. So it's all balanced. It's all good and bad. It's all nice. It's all beautiful. I invited them to join us here. But who wants another app in their life? If they like Tao, maybe they'll join. But other than that, I'm back with you guys and love you. And we're here to talk more, to dive deeper into living with the knowledge that we are being embraced by Tao. Right. And I think that that's really what it comes down to. It's not like we are going to live a life of Tao. We're always living a life of Tao. But when we live knowing that we're embraced by Tao, and that it's our responsibility to some degree to live the life, which is the gift that we're given. And when we have that, when we have knowledge of that, when we have awareness of that, and then we have awareness of I don't like that I'm doing this. All right, well, take note and recognize you're going to do it until you don't, and watch as you transform, right? Observe the transformation in yourself as you recognize things that you're doing that you don't like that you do. It's a beautiful life that we lead. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Number 18 is out of touch with Tao. And I guess just off of what I just said, right? It's kind of like out of touch with Tao is like forgetting that you're loved. Like maybe that's how this could be titled, Forgetting That You're Loved. And I'm going to read this as it's written, but then maybe I'll go back and talk about it from this other point. This idea that, maybe this could have been entitled Forgetting That You're Loved. So it's currently out of touch with Tao. When out of touch with Tao, etiquette is observed. When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. When all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded. There's a lot to talk about with that. I'm going to start by just by contemplating the idea, like, is this really about forgetting that we're loved, forgetting that we're being held by Tao? Because you're not out of touch with Tao, right? You'll never be out of touch with Tao. We can forget. That's what this refers to. Because you're out of touch with it, it's still in touch with you. And so like this idea of forgetting that we're loved, forgetting that we're being held, forgetting that it all does work out. We're always going to end up exactly where we need to be. When out of touch with Tao, or when we forget that we're being held, when we forget that we're being loved, when we forget how special this experience, this life of mine actually is, when we forget that, we start to observe etiquette, right? Etiquette is observed. And etiquette is, I'm going to go through the motions. I'm going to do the right thing as it is prescribed. Because I don't remember how loved I actually am. I don't remember how blessed I actually am. I don't remember that I'm being held at every moment. And so I'm going to observe etiquette. And etiquette is what people have prescribed as being the right thing previous to my being here at this moment. So the right thing to do is to be polite. The right thing to do is to congratulate. The right thing to do is whatever it is, give money to someone who needs it, help your friend move, accept an invitation that maybe you don't want to accept. But the etiquette is, well, they came to my thing, so I'll go to theirs. And then so we get lost in the etiquette when we forget how much love there is for us. Lo, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Wait, you sound so good this morning.
I slept. I'm awake for the day, guys.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This isn't just like you
I know.
you going to bed?
Hey, it's monumentous, guys.
Wow, that's pretty big.
So today is going to be a good day, and that's why.
I'm so glad. Are there plans that you have to execute?
Martin John, you are. I love you. I just do.
How cute of you thinking I have plans.
Well, what's funny is I was just talking to somebody, and my life is completely different from when you talked to me last. Completely different. I am technically homeless. I'm in a sober living facility. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here for basically, the stuff hit the fan with my soon-to-be ex, and I was talking to a lot of people in the last few days, and I was just like, you know what, like, I don't like to be. I like to do. I understand my mom so much now when, she got so much flack for never sitting down. And I feel like we all have that mother figure in our life that is known for never sitting down. And the second she sits down, she pops right back up and she's off to do the dishes or like she's off to do something. She doesn't like to be. And I don't like to be. And lately what I'm finding is that I have no choice anymore. I literally have no choice. My timeline is up to somebody else. And I'm lonely and I'm uncomfortable and I don't like it.
You mean currently in the space that you're at or in your life previously to this moment?
I mean, all of the above. But
okay.
The kicker of it is, guys, I slept last night.
Yeah,
I
you
should
did.
be the most stressed that I have ever been in my life, and I'm not. And you know why? Because I have a safe place to sleep, and I know that I do for the time being, and it doesn't look like it's going to end, and I have food to eat. So my needs are met,
Right.
At this point, I got nothing to do but be. And
Absolutely.
I don't like it, but I had my best friend from childhood, or from high school. Her name's Brooke. She lives in Tennessee. She sent me a care package yesterday, just of stuff that you wouldn't, She was like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "Well, I have everything I need. It's just, there are a few things that I would like to have. I don't need them. I've done fine without them." And there's a song called Right Where We Left Off. And that's my sister and that's my friendship with Brooke. And I'm screaming from the rooftop to people because I'm finding it more and more. My sister and Brooke are two people that throughout my life, our relationship has fluctuated. We have been best of friends and spent every waking moment together. And we have literally not talked for years, either in an argument or just because life be life in. And all I'm trying to say is when you're frustrated with those relationships, maybe that's your sign that you just need to be. Because, they both showed up for me and the stuff that they sent me, I guess it was nothing major. But my sister surprised me with a picture of my dog that just passed on a necklace. And I cried so hard last night.
I bet.
And it wasn't a sad thing. It was the one thing that I miss besides my kids are my dogs, and I don't have them. And that's honestly what is hardest for me. So the fact that my sister surprised me in that moment with something I didn't even know I needed was so beautiful and was so much like my dog was here and he's like, "You got this." And people can make fun of me if they want, that I'm motivated by a dog, and I don't care.
Of course.
He's the best. He is the best. Yeah. And I'm going to do so many great things because of him and because of my kids. And I will tell everybody that. The people that have shown up to meet for me, I owe them everything. And I owe them nothing because they would never ask me to repay them.
Of course.
And that's beautiful. And I'm so lucky. I am so blessed. I am so rich right now.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I am too. I'm like, my friend sent me a pencil case and pens and a notebook. And I was like, oh my God, this is my life. This is my life.
Yeah. And that's the number, when you said it's nothing major, it's like, there's no reason to rank it, but you see how like a little locket or a little pencil case change your life. Because when you get so busy doing, there's that one Tao that says, rushing ahead, you lose sight of where you are. And when someone gives you a pencil case, when you have to be still, and you're needs are met, right? You get to be you. You get to really see all of the places that you've been neglecting yourself. And then that's what, and then that's when the energy starts to flow, and the energy starts to move when you start to remove those blocks, and it feels so overwhelming. Just receiving pencils is difficult sometimes because it's so huge. It's like someone giving you like hundreds of thousands of dollars, because exactly. It's like, how can I receive these? And you just and you talk to yourself about this is nothing, but it's so hard to receive. And then you feel that pang in your chest, in your solar plexus or your heart. And then you have to receive that.
Love that pain. I do love that pain. That's the thing is I think it's the most worthwhile.
Well, it's communication, right? We're being communicated with. We're being shown.
It's being seen, and that's what she also sent me my favorite candy, and it was just, I'm sure it cost her $2, but
yeah,
I forgot I mentioned it to her, and I'm like, you know me, you spend so much time here by yourself, and it's fine, but it's you forget that you are seen, you forget, and she saw me, and
yeah.
I'm so, the other night I got a question about, are you, when was the last time you felt lucky? And I was like, you know what? I should say not right now, but every time I think I'm going to leave this place because I need X, Y, and Z, they turn around and they hand me exactly what it was that I needed. So
yeah,
then that's a gift. And, it's a gift to have nothing and be able to appreciate things. And I think the final thing is that I grew up in a very chaotic environment. We were the house that was the hot mess that everybody hung out at because the parents didn't really care. And, we always had somebody with us. And I love that because I don't like to be alone. But what I'm realizing is I'm looking at things that I want or that I need, and I'm looking at them in the amazing fun possibility of everything that I can have, and that I only have to think about, do I like it? And people don't realize I've never done that. I went from living with my mom to living with roommates to living with my husband. I've always had to think about, well, does somebody else like it? And it is so wonderful to look at a pair of house shoes, house slippers, and just be like, this is pink and fuzzy and ridiculous. This is wow. And I'm going to rock pink fuzzy house slippers. I didn't do that. I became a boy mom. So, it's good. It's good to be loved. And like I said, I'm up and I'm about to meditate, and I saw you on, and I was like, I need my daily Martin.
Oh, I'm glad you joined me.
What is my number, friend?
What is your number?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to pick it?
Always.
Oh, okay.
Baby.
Always. I'm off at 69.
I've had this one before.
An invitation to conflict. So this is an invitation to conflict or an invitation to conflict, right? We look at those, the interesting thing about the English language, sometimes we have those words like conflict and conflict, and depending on how we use it in the sentence, we would pronounce it differently. So in conflict, the master will never host aggression. She would much prefer to be a guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. This allows the host to exhaust themselves without the master having to weaponize anything. Wanting to control through aggression is foolish and underestimates conflict and its results. When you choose to conflict with another, you look down on your 3 lessons. By creating an enemy, you become an enemy. When two forces oppose each other, the one who relinquishes prevails. You know, and I think about this, and I think about the two sides of love. You know, the one side that's always people pleasing, and then the one that has never been able to exert herself because she's always living with someone else and having to. And this has been weaponized in your own life. You know, it's been weaponized, and you said, you know, if you don't do the right thing, if you don't abide etiquette, let's say, if you don't take a back seat, girl, then you're going to be homeless. You're going to be out there. You're not going to be loved. You're not going to be supported. It's scary out there. And over time, it gets kind of increasingly violent, increasingly weaponized. Because if you relinquish a little bit of space to that message, then that message becomes your own bias. That message becomes a matter of fact, even though it's just a matter of fear. And then you start believing it's true. You start believing that if I give any credence to this this message that, like, I am being held, I am being loved, I do have all that I need, always. If I give any credence to that, I'll lose everything. That's how it's been weaponized. And as you've done that, you found yourself in a darker and darker place, smaller and smaller. And now this is the one that relinquish prevails. That's what's happening now. It's starting to turn. It's still scary. It's still going to go in ebbs and flows. It's still going to be difficult at times to relinquish control, to trust yourself, to do all the things to the depth and degree that you're capable of. However, you're beginning to receive. That's what I hear. I don't know what stood out to you.
Sorry, I was multitasking. I was getting dressed while you were listening to you. A lot stood out. I'm probably gonna have to come back up, but I think honestly, I keep going back to my mother, and I think that's what I just. My father died when I was 4, 2 weeks before my 5th birthday. I was alone in the car with him on the side of the highway.
Well, that's an awful time for you to be dropping out, but I'm going to bring you right back up. So the story goes, you were alone with him on the side of the highway just before your 5th birthday.
Yes, and the way it worked was I was my dad's favorite. Everybody knew this. I was the littlest, I was the cutest. It was your stereotypical, I was the baby, I could do no wrong. So my dad had taken my older siblings, were in school full time. I was not. He took me to his work, did some work. He started having chest pains. Now, this was my dad's 3rd heart attack. You think that he would have known better, and he didn't. And my dad got an immediate out for me for most of my life, because how are you angry at somebody you don't know? All I know about him was the rare things that my mom would say, which was rarely positive because he wasn't nice to her. And I think that's why I tried so hard with my husband. And I don't have any regrets. I think that's what a lot of people keep waiting for me to say, that I regret the way I handle things, and I don't. And I don't think that you say that, but I just mean in general. And it's because, you know, honestly, in my mind, my husband killed my dog. Um, Now, he didn't actually do that, and I know that, but he didn't care. So for me, it's the same thing. He knew how much that dog meant to me. He did not care. So he doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about our pets. And then now he does not care about our children. And what I tell people is, I always knew that was the final line. I will put up with whatever if you are good to my children. That's just how I work. I'm not going to argue about it. But for me, like, I keep thinking about, any more of the space that I've had with him. And I did think about going home. Because at least I know that. At least all my stuff's there. At least my dogs are there, the two that I have left. And every time I go, I realize I don't want to be around him. I don't like him. I don't like what he's doing. I don't know him, to be perfectly honest. The man that I married would not care about our children. So I went off on a tangent, but I mean, that's basically why I'm very grateful for the moment to, just be. And to, I told my friend last night, I was like, I am, people still keep bugging me about stuff that's going on. And I'm like, I don't have the answer for you. I really don't. I don't, don't have any access to get the answer for you. So that's not a low problem right now. And Walt is going to go play. And I'm being responsible and I'm doing things.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but I'm having fun, because right now, if I fuck up, if I mess up, I'm not, the consequences for me are very low. Thinking about the ways that I would, but, I want to play, and I'm going to play, and I'm going to have fun, and that's the way I am. So I'm playing with conflict right now, but I did love that you pointed out, because I didn't realize that conflict, once you say it out loud like that, yes, I hear it, but I didn't ever put it together. And that is one of my favorite things, is words that play like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like conflict that you have, right? There's things that are happening in your life, in your mind, that conflict. There's ideas that conflict. There's and when we start weaponizing things because there's conflict, right? Then we start to lose track, and that's happened in your life, but then there is this, by creating an enemy, you become an enemy. That's a really delicate line where, your husband, he's, for whatever reason, who he is at this moment. And maybe he is who you perceive him to be. Maybe he's not. But either way, the idea that you're able to finally get some space to see clearly, that's a life-changing experience. Not everybody gets the experience to be able to create space to the degree that they can see clearly.
Exactly. And I want to tell people, for me, it's a gift. I don't, I loved my husband enough that we had 17 years together.
Yeah.
And we created an amazing pair of children. He's going through something. And I can't get into what it is, not because I'm being secretive, but because I don't know.
Well, and in all reality, you're going through something.
Well, yeah,
as well.
Yeah,
and I mean, I know he recently had an amputation. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he's probably drinking again, but
that's fine.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's got his
gotcha.
stuff, and there's nothing wrong
No,
with that. I
that's
mean, but like he's going through stuff. Like he lost,
an
like,
appendage, yes.
yeah, and so that's a big thing,
Right,
and
and that's my point. My point, because I think we're on the same path here, is that every time I do start to go down that road, that's where I end up. Is I end up at the same place, which is I don't know what he's going through because I'm not him. Um,
right,
I
but
know
that's
enough
that's
about
that's his responsibility is to know what
right,
he's going through.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know enough about mental illness that I don't wish him ill. I don't wish him harm. He is my
Right,
children's father. I want them to have a father,
right.
but I've given him all the same resources that I found myself, and he doesn't want them, and that's his choice.
Right, and
So,
they're just not for him. He's got to find his own, just like you've had to find your own.
exactly. But for me, like the whole point is that my mom went from my father to my stepdad. And my stepdad was the real monster. And that's kind of what I go down to is I tell people if I can forgive my stepdad, I can forgive anybody. And it was a choice that I made on my own time. I wasn't forced into it, but I did. And I did it for me. But I tell people like I'm getting out before I'm 40. My mom was in her 50s, and even then, I think she got through it. I don't think she ever got the clarity part based on how she acted. I don't know, but I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to bring, but I do know there's a book coming. There's a book for this. Everybody has been asking me my entire life, "Oh, you sound like a writer. Do you write?" There is a book here. This is what I was waiting for. I mean,
This is what I was waiting for. This this
that's all I can
uprooted
say.
life of mine. This is everything. This is what it's all about right here.
But I've come full circle is what I'm trying to say is that I've
No, I get it.
forgiven
I
my
get it. No, I
father, I've
understand.
forgiven my mother,
Yeah.
my husband
No,
has
this
been
is
the
there's
villain and hero to me, and I've forgiven him, and now it's about me. So it's
yeah.
like, why not
Right.
write my story until
No,
now? And
absolutely.
then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
it's just interesting. It's always interesting that it's like because that is a byproduct of the life you're leading, right? Your life is
right.
not, and that's what I'm sort of like chuckling at is the idea that your life is not culminating into a book. A book is a
No, right,
byproduct of the
right.
amazing life that you're
Yes.
able to live. Like
Yes, but
and so
for so
and so
long, I was
like
like, oh,
keeping.
yes, for so long, yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Everybody's life is a book.
like it's important to
Yes, but
distinguish
for me,
between what the important thing is. It's, especially
right,
on
and
this show,
people,
for fuck's sake.
yeah, people kept saying like, you have a story, and I'm like, I do have a story. I have tons of stories. I always have stories. So what? And now I'm like, oh,
Oh, maybe, yeah.
oh, like I hear the
Oh,
call. I hear the
right.
call.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what's going to, and it's that call, right? And like we were talking about before with number 18, right? We were talking about that idea of like when you can hear the call, like when you're in touch with Tao, you're not just observing etiquette anymore, right? Etiquette is what you were observing before when you were people pleasing and doing all that stuff, and
Exactly. And
yeah.
I think I couldn't do it before because I was so worried about how I look too. And now I'm like, it doesn't have, I'm not saying I'm making a bestseller. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't care. It's my story. I'm going to pass it
Right,
on to my
right.
kids. That's
Well,
what's
and
fun.
that's the thing. That's just being present with who Lo is today, and maybe Lo is a writer today, and maybe she'll be a writer tomorrow, and
So
and
basically,
then.
you're picking up on the fact that I have multiple personalities. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
All right.
I've seen glimpses, but
No, they all live in the same place.
I
I'm very
noticed.
much
Yeah,
they talk to each other, guys. Hang out with
yeah.
me at night, and you will hear my personality speak to each other. All right, thank you for making my morning. I gotta get
No.
finished getting ready, but I will let somebody else come on and I'll listen. Love you
Yeah,
all.
thank you, dear. Love you. Have a
I love you
wonderful
too.
week, and well, I'll probably talk to you again, but
Yeah, I
I
owe you a haiku.
enjoy.
That's what I'm doing this week. I'm writing everybody haikus
Beautiful.
for
I'll look forward to it.
fun. All right.
Bye bye.
Right.
So I'm going to go back to 18. And I still have those 69 open. And I really do like 69. You know, in conflict, the master will never host aggression. You know, and that's it's interesting when we kind of start breaking down the idea as some of the words that are here, right? Like sometimes the Tao will not anchor you on a truth, will not anchor you in one way or another. So it says here, in conflict, the master will never host aggression. Right? Will never host aggression. This is a hard line. It's not wishy-washy in any way. It says the master will never host aggression. You will never see a master hosting aggression. She would much prefer to be the guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. There's never going to be a time. Yes, there may be a time where she is going to be asked to defend herself, and so aggression will exude from her. She will act in an aggressive way. Yes, that's true. But she's not hosting that aggression. That aggression is being hosted by someone else. She will never host aggression. She will never decorate or allow herself to be in a space in which she's hosting aggression. If someone brings aggression to your doorstep, you say, okay, you can come in if you'd like. Like, I'm not going to host aggression in a way that is defensive either. I'm not going to, I can send them away, but I'm not going to do that in a way that's aggressive. If they demand to come in, I'll be like, okay, in you go. And I relinquish space rather than claim it. Maybe if they want to come in, I can leave the space. Maybe I can say, you come in while I leave, They're just like, okay, you want to come in? You can come in. I'm going to go somewhere else. This is both metaphorical and physical, of course. This allows the host space to exhaust themselves. Imagine walking away from an argument and them just following you. And you just keep walking. And then you start recognizing that the landscape is beautiful. And you're still in this space. And this person is just wasting their energy because you're not even paying attention to it. You're not even acknowledging it. So the master has to weaponize nothing. Now it moves to talking to us. Ugh, bless me. Wanting to control through aggression is foolish. It underestimates conflict and its results. What are the results of conflict that you've seen? Is it ever any, yeah, okay, maybe we can come to a consensus to something, but that's really not when it's not when we're in that deep conflict. Maybe over time, but it can always turn on itself. When you choose to conflict with another, you look down on them. I like that the line in the Tao that says, don't make light of what is important to others. If they don't like what you like, don't make light of what they like. If they believe in something you don't believe in, don't make light of what they believe in. If they care about somebody more than you do, or they care about someone you don't care about, if they care about a subject that you don't care about, remember, everything's stupid anyway. There's someone out there that thinks what you're doing is stupid. So I don't care how awesome you are. I mean, you can look at Elon Musk. There are people that think about what he's doing and think it's stupid. You know? And so even he is investing in his life in things that are stupid. Maybe he loves all the things he's investing in his life in, and good for him. Go do it. Go. Like for me, doing Tao of the Day every day. Stupid, but I love doing it, so here I am doing it. Right? The fact that you're here. Stupid. However, if you love doing it, please continue to do it. If you go running every day. Stupid. But if you love doing it, go do it. Or if you love the results of it, go do it. If you just love living your life, doing whatever you do, it's all stupid, but do it anyway. Do it because you love it, not because there's some destination you're trying to get to. And then there's that line, by creating an enemy, you become an enemy. That line, I don't know. That is not in the Tao version that I was introduced to when I was young. I'm going to open up Stephen Mitchell's 69 real quick and see what it says here. It says here, you become an enemy yourself. It says, there is no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus you destroy your 3 treasures and become an enemy yourself. So that's how Stephen Mitchell put it. And in my mind, it was like, wow, by having an enemy, you become an enemy. You know, in my mind, for years and years, that's kind of how I shortcutted. I truncated that. But that says a lot, right? So here, wanting, in my translation, wanting to control through aggression is foolish. This underestimates conflict and its results. And in Stephen Mitchell's version, it says, there is no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. See, I'm saying it underestimates conflict and its results. He's talking about underestimating the enemy, underestimating your enemy. You think he's evil, and that's what I mean by conflict, right? Once you make him evil, now you're in conflict. You're putting a label on him or her, and you're putting you're putting yourself in front of all of that. So, wanting to control through aggression is foolish and underestimates conflict and its results. When you choose to conflict with another, you look down on them and lose your 3 lessons. Do you guys remember what the 3 lessons are? There is humility, compassion, and moderation. Right? With humility, and we can go to 67, which talks about the 3 lessons. With compassion, you'll be able to care for all things. Without compassion, you can't care for all things. You care about things you care about. And that's all you can muster. And anybody that wants compassion, you ask if they deserve it. Do you deserve my compassion? Right? So here it says, with compassion, you will be able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. You care for all things, not just the stuff that you think deserves compassion. With moderation, you will be able to be generous without them needing to prove they're worthy of it. It's kind of like, when you see some people, they come across people that are homeless, and they're like, should I give them money? They're just going to use it for drugs. It's like, well, yes, so it's their money. Once you give it to them, what's the problem? Can't you spend your money on whatever you want? Yeah, but I'm not going to give them money. Okay, so don't. But don't make the fact that they're going to use it for drugs be the reason you're not giving. You're not giving because you don't want to. Don't make them the reason, and what you see in them and your ability to look down on them, right? The reason that you're not going to be With humility, you know you are going to die like all things, thus you treat all things with dignity and respect. It's amazing when we can look at someone and see their humanity. It's eye-opening when we can be like, hey, you're human too. And I know it's hard. And give love. And so those are the 3 lessons that you look down on when you choose to conflict and you lose sight of you underestimate conflict and its results. Because the results are in your life. If you conflict with another person, once again, there's poison in that. There's poison that you're taking, and if they choose to host that aggression, there's poison in what they're taking. That's why the master relinquishes space rather than claims it. When 2 forces oppose each other, the one that relinquishes prevails. I've talked about my response of okay, good. I enjoy that response for a lot of things, because if something is, it is inherently good. This is happening. Okay, good. It might not feel like it's good right now. But like what that does is that relinquishes a lot of space. It relinquishes a lot of definitions, releases a lot of structure. And just like, oh, okay, good. That's nice. Let this unfold. Let this be what it is. It's beautiful to allow that. And so that was Lowe's 69, the conflict. I really like when the Tao talks about conflict. There's not a lot of verses that it talks about, but when it does talk about conflict, and there's the 2 main verses in which there's an invitation to conflict, number 69, and conflict resolution, 79. It's when it does talk about conflict, when it does talk about being conflicting. And it's even mentioned early, right? So it's mentioned in 8 as well, in Be Like Water. And it just says, in conflict, she is yielding. So this is in the beginning of the Tao. We talk about conflict in the 8th verse. And it says, hey, in conflict, the master is yielding because she aims to resemble water. And then we get down when we finally address the word conflict again. The first thing it says is it will never host aggression, would much prefer to be a guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. And then we look at number 8, the first mention of conflict in the Tao Te Ching. In conflict, she is yielding. She is yielding. See, this is the way, this is a continuum. We look at it on the show, in my life, more like an oracle and a guide. But there's so much in this that is connected. I'm going to go ahead and read through 18, which was my random number this morning. When out of touch with Tao, as I was talking about earlier, when you forget that you're being held, because you are being held always. Doesn't mean like it's not this idea that if you forget Tao, it's going to forget you, and now you're out of touch. You're always being held by Tao. There's never a point where you're not. I don't care how devastating this moment might feel. So when someone is out of touch with Tao, etiquette is observed. So they lean on etiquette. They lean on what's the right thing to do. And the right thing, quote unquote, to do is going to come from the influences under which you're living. They're going to be coming from your parents, your teachers, your education system, your economic system, your government, your cultural norms, all of those sorts of things. That is where the etiquette is going to come from. So when etiquette cannot be abided, when you're like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. We find excuses to make it proper. Well, I didn't want to do that because I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy. Oh, it's too busy. Things are too much. I'm not, oh, they did this, right? We have all of these excuses to be the victim of some other BS so that we could now be okay with the things that we've decided to do that are not in line with etiquette. We find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, it just means when excuses have been used to such a degree that there's no way of knowing what is even the right thing to do. Is it right to be inclusive? Is it not right to be inclusive? Is it right to be nice to someone, but you're taking away other rights? You start to see that the balance is really kind of askew. So you got, when excuses gut the family, when excuses gut the community, when excuses gut the nation, when excuses gut the world, chaos favors the hierarchy. So as people are in chaos, when all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded. This is a dissolution of our knowledge that we are connected. It's a dissolution of our knowledge that we're being held, we're being loved, that love is not a commodity. This is a dissolution of all that, of the truth of who we are, how we're connected. That's the thing. When I read this, when excuses gut the family, that's the thing that creates the conflict, right? Chaos favors the hierarchy. You get in the conflict, and once you get in the conflict, you turn to the hierarchy, because that's where you're at. The conflict creates chaos. Chaos favors the hierarchy, and when everybody is in chaos, everybody better get in line, because there's no way of coming back without brute force. And that's why it's so important to remember that we're loved. Remember that we're human, not enemies, right? To create an enemy, you become an enemy. These two sit really well together. 18 and 69. Lo, thank you for coming up and having me pick a number for you. Good luck this week, or however long you're going to be in your situation. It's great to be able to step away from our normal everyday lives that we're wrapped up in and just take a breath. Just take a moment to get perspective. Life is easy, folks. Well, it can be. I love you. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is Martin John. If you benefit from the work that I'm doing here, please check out the links in my profile and help support me continuing to do this with you through Venmo or Buy Me a Coffee. You can find links to all of those things through my website, and you can find that on my profile. So thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, as I stretch, keep recovering yourself.